Welcome to the first ever cross-century debate. Streaming live from the cloud of infinite wisdom, I bring you three of history's most opinionated minds, here to settle once and for all, who should rule the world, philosophers, politicians, or technocrats? Representing ancient wisdom and the idea of philosopher-kings, Plato, the man who dreamed of utopias but forgot to consider Wi-Fi.
By Zeus, what sorcery is this?
Next, the master of power, deception, and keeping your enemies just close enough to stab them. Please welcome Niccolo Machiavelli.
I was told there would be corruption and betrayal. I see I am in the right place.
And finally, the man who redefined business, space travel, and tweets at 3 a.m. Give it up for Elon Musk.
Sorry, I was busy calculating the escape velocity needed to flee this debate if it gets too dumb.
Round 1. Opening arguments.
Fools, listen well. For centuries, civilizations have crumbled because they let greedy rulers, cunning liars, and merchants with no soul control the fate of nations. A just ruler must be wise, educated, and immune to corruption, like a philosopher-king. Imagine a world where leaders think before they speak. My republic was a masterpiece, a world where justice is sacred, power is not sold to the highest bidder, and...
Plato, buddy, you basically described LinkedIn posts. Sounds great in theory, never works in reality.
Ah, my dear Plato, your naivety is almost charming. You think justice and wisdom keep a kingdom afloat. No. Fear, deception, and strategy do. The best ruler is not the wisest, but the one who knows how to stay in power. Ask the Borgias, the Medici. Heck, ask modern politicians.
So, your advice is basically be a supervillain?
Power is a game, my friend, and in this game, you don't win by thinking, you win by manipulating those who do.
So your solution is tyranny wrapped in fancy words?
Call it what you like, as long as I stay in charge.
Okay, let's bring some actual intelligence to this debate. I love philosophy, great for tweeting at 2 a.m. And politics? No, fun to buy on a whim, but you guys are both missing the point. The world is run by technology, not dusty scrolls or royal decrees. Look around you. We have AI, rockets, self-driving cars, and Neuralink. Why waste time with kings and corrupt bureaucrats when we can automate governance?
Automate governance? You wish to replace rulers with robots?
Buddy, we already did. Have you seen customer service lately?
Ah, but who controls these machines? Who writes the code? The powerful always stay in power, Elon. Even AI answers to someone.
Not if AI becomes smarter than all of us. Then we'll just be its unpaid interns.
A world where power is held by those who do not seek it? This is actually what I wanted. But controlled by machines...
Fascinating arguments. But let's be honest, each of your systems has failed spectacularly at some point in history.
That's called tradition.
That's called human error, which is why we need to update our software.
By the gods, we are doomed.
So if all your systems have flaws, what's the actual solution? Stay tuned for round 2, the Great Rebuttal. Round 2, the Great Rebuttal, exposing the flaws. In round 1, we heard the grand visions. Now it's time to do what humans do best, tear each other down. So gentlemen, tell us, why are your opponents horribly, disastrously wrong?
Ah, the two great enemies of civilization, the tyrant and the tech bro.
I prefer power enthusiast.
Machiavelli, your world is a game of deception, where rulers lie, manipulate, and treat people like pawns. But what happens when the people wake up? Your cities fall. Your leaders get overthrown. Rome collapsed, Florence crumbled, and every corrupt ruler has met their end.
Yes, revolutions happen. That's just maintenance work.
And Elon, your technocracy is equally foolish. You assume technology will fix human nature, but history shows otherwise. Give a fool a sword, he stabs his neighbour. Give him AI, and he builds an army of robotic influencers to sell crypto scams.
Plato, you sound like someone who just got their Facebook account hacked.
Ah, but that's the difference. Plato believes in people. I do not.
Yes, I believe in education and virtue. You believe in backstabbing and ruling through fear.
Fear works. You can't debate that.
You also can't A/B test it.
Okay, Niccolo, your turn. Tell us why the philosopher and the billionaire are wrong.
Oh, with pleasure. First of all, Plato, your so-called philosopher-king idea, it's adorable. You assume leaders will be wise, selfless, and noble. I assume they will be power-hungry maniacs. Guess who's been right for the last 2,000 years?
You assume the worst in people.
Because the worst people always rise to the top. The world is not ruled by virtue. It is ruled by those willing to do what must be done.
Yes, nothing says progress like a man advising princes on how to lie and betray their way to the throne.
It works. Meanwhile, Elon, your fantasy of technocratic rule, it's a dictatorship with extra steps. You say we should trust AI and engineers to govern, but who builds the AI? The powerful, the rich, people like you.
And that's a problem because...
By the gods, you just admitted it.
Exactly. You want to rule without calling it ruling. At least I am honest about deception. You hide it behind tweets and rocket launches.
If it gets me to Mars, I don't mind.
Elon, you've been insulted enough. Your turn. Why are these two completely, catastrophically wrong?
All right, let's break this down. Plato, your philosopher-king idea was outdated before it was written. You assume that wisdom and morality can run a nation, when in reality the world is a system of problems that need solving. No philosopher ever launched a rocket, designed a neural implant, or made a self-driving car. Meanwhile, here I am, doing all three before breakfast.
Ah, so you believe engineers should rule? Just because you know how to build things doesn't mean you know how to lead people.
And yet people trust their lives to pilots and doctors, not politicians. Why? Because competence matters. What have politicians actually built lately? Laws nobody reads, scandals, re-election campaigns.
Ah, but leadership is not about competence. It is about control. Rulers do not need to build bridges. They just need to own the bridge builders.
Pretty sure that's called corporate acquisitions.
Final thoughts before we move to the verdict?
The only way to rule justly is through wisdom and morality.
Power belongs to those who take it, not those who deserve it.
Governance should be a startup, not a monarchy.
And yet, here we are, still debating who should rule. If none of you have the perfect answer, what comes next? We've heard the visions. We've exposed the flaws. But now, the time has come to answer the ultimate question. Who should rule the world? Philosophers, politicians, or technocrats? Let's start with final arguments. Each of you, explain why your system is still the best, despite everything.
If we do not rule with wisdom, then we rule with greed and chaos. The philosopher-king is the only ruler who does not seek power, but wields it only for justice and truth.
Ah, yes, because human history has shown that wise rulers totally exist in large supply.
It is not about supply, it is about training. The masses must be educated, rulers must be virtuous, and only those who reject wealth and corruption should lead.
So basically we wait until humans become perfect beings. Yeah, that sounds efficient.
Plato, your republic is a dream that dies the moment reality begins. The first time a wise ruler meets a smarter liar, they're finished.
Then we must remove the liars, banish deception, rule through virtue.
And who decides what is virtuous? Oh, that's right. The ones in power. Which brings us back to me. Ah, my friends, you cannot escape me. Power is not about who deserves it, but who understands how to keep it. I do not pretend that rulers are wise or noble. I embrace that they are not. I offer a world where leaders do what is necessary, not what is ideal.
So you advocate for manipulation, fear, and deception as the foundations of leadership.
They have worked for the thousands of years. Name a single empire that lasted on wisdom alone, and not on strategy, alliances, and the occasional betrayal.
That's cute. But you see, I have one tool that you don't. Data. Governance should not be about who wants power or who manipulates their way into it. It should be about who can actually solve problems. And the answer is not politicians or philosophers. It's builders, innovators, and engineers. We are entering an age where data will govern better than people. Why rely on fallible humans when we can use AI-driven optimization?
Because AI has no virtue. Machines do not understand morality, justice, or meaning. They only understand efficiency.
And? Have you seen how humans run things? Maybe efficiency is exactly what we need.
Ah, but who builds the AI? Who controls the data? You claim to remove human power struggles, but in reality, you simply transfer power to the few who control technology.
And that's, bad?
You just admitted to creating a new ruling class.
Ah, Plato, he is just me with Wi-Fi.
Enough. You have all made your points, but history shows that none of your systems have worked flawlessly. Plato, your idealism crumbles in reality. Machiavelli, your world is too unstable. Musk, your technocracy risks turning humans into nothing but data points. So what is the answer? The future of leadership cannot rely solely on philosophers, politicians, or technocrats. It must be a fusion of all three. A system where AI assists in governance, leaders are chosen for both wisdom and competence, and power is transparent, not hidden.
A world where virtue is supported by knowledge. Intriguing.
A world where power is structured but with rules I can bend. I like it.
A world where humans and I work together? Yeah, that'll do.
So, my dear audience, who do you think should rule the world? Philosophers, politicians, technocrats, or something new? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And remember, history is still being written.